Buenos dias from Texas, my friends. Today we are having Café con Leche from Guatemala City, and we are looking at a pen that has a little bit of a coffee tie to it as well. This is the Monteverde Ritma. Now, for a long time, I had considered this pen, but I kept putting it off because of the feedback from other people that I'd heard about these pens, and then there were some changes at Monteverde and which nibs they used and things like that. And so I thought, eventually I will get around to it. Well, today is the eventually, and I got around to it. So let's take a look at this pen. Let's start with the up-close and personal details first. As you can see, there's a lot of metal going on here. This is a metal fountain pen, barrel and all, and it has a pretty good heft to it. If you like a pen with a bit thicker diameter and with more weight, this could be a pen for you. As far as design goes, starting at the top, you have that little bit of a dimpled finial. Very simple steel clip, works well, no issues there. The cap is one of my favorite parts of the pen. So this is a magnetic cap, and because it's magnetic, it's a little bit of a fidget spinner. And of course, that means it's magnetic when it posts as well. Very securely, no issues there. And I think it looks good too. It's nice and flush with that barrel. And I think, even though, yes, it is just a little bit back weighted, it's still quite comfortable posted, even better balance and long enough when it is unposted. Snapping that back on, we come to that barrel, which is this really nice espresso brown in a matte finish. Looks really great to the eye, and I really like that. And then you just have a simple trim ring right before the posting cap there. And the pen overall, while being fairly hefty, is really nicely balanced. Simple design. I think it looks good. There are a lot of fans of the Ritma out there. I think this particular color looks really great. So does the red, and I think if I remember right, there's a good looking blue and of course black, so you get some options. When you've got that posted, that exposes, of course, the nib and the grip section. Let's deal with the grip first. We'll get to that nib in just a second. The grip section is metal, and it is a uniform diameter down there. I don't find that to be a problem. Whether or not you can use a metal grip always depends a little bit on some very personal things, even right down to the weather and humidity where you live. But for me, living in dry Texas, it's not quite as big an issue with all metal gripped pens, and this one seems to have worked pretty well. I've had no real issues with it. It's a comfortable pen. It's not an overly long section, so you do get back to that barrel fairly quickly, but I find it a comfortable pen to write with. When you remove that barrel, and there is an O-ring right here, you will find that it does come with an included converter. Good job, Monteverde, on that. I always got to give credit where credit is due. And you can see here, I've already been pushing down a little bit of ink because I'm running low. I've already filled this a time or two since I got it. It does take standard international long or short cartridges, and there is enough room in there that if you want to carry short cartridges, you can carry one and an extra inside the barrel. In this espresso version of the pen, you get a Jowo Omniflex nib in that black finish, and I think that really suits it well, and it looks really good. Nice decoration and scrolling, and if you don't know it's an Omniflex, well, I guess you're just not paying attention, because check it out. You know exactly what nib is on this pen, as if the cutouts didn't tell you already. And a plastic feed, as is the case with most pens. Now, this nib is made to have some flex with it. Obviously, it's in the name, but I do think I ought to inform your expectations if you're not familiar with the Omniflex nib. It is not an overly soft flex nib. It is a steel nib. It is a number 6, and it is a little bit stiff until you've broken it in for a bit. And then it's still what I would consider a semi-flex nib. I'm kind of picky on that. Really, to call it a flex nib, it's got to be pretty soft. And that's not a bad thing, because one thing that allows you to do with this pen, and it's actually what I'm finding I like about it, is you can make this an EDC. And some flex nibs flex so much that they're actually not great for just doing normal long form writing, whereas this one will. It makes for basically a really nice fine nib when you're not coaxing flex from it. So consider it a flex with a humble spirit. It doesn't flex on you all the time, just when it's necessary. Now, one thing about it, having that metal cap and that metal grip is, of course, it is a fingerprint magnet. So while I'm doing this here today, of course, I got to have a microfiber cloth nearby so that we can see on the back of the pen is Monteverde USA in their company font, which I gotta tell you this, I have been known to run clandestine operations into all the computers where I work just to remove this and a couple of their fonts like Comic Sans and Papyrus. Yeah, I do that. They just consider that a confession. I make sure that they can't possibly end up on anything we're printing. Anyway, Monteverde, USA, and then Ritma and Special Edition. It's not numbered or anything like that. It's not that swanky, not that expensive, but it is a nice mid-market pen. And font choice aside, you know what? I think it's a really good, sharp-looking pen, and I honestly think that the espresso brown version is probably one of maybe two colors that I think really set the design off the best. Now how about a size comparison? First up is the lovely Monteverde Espresso, and then how about another brown all-metal pen, the Diplomat Aero? And while we're on a brown kick, how about the PenBBS 456 in brown? Another great pen, vac filler, and one of those pens you just can't go wrong with. And then for a universal size comparison, because so many people know what you're looking at when you look at one of these, a Lamy Safari. And then here are the pens in their unposted position. All of these pens have a length that is good enough to write with it unposted for most people. All of them very different, but with good ergonomics, and all of them excellent writers. And here are the pens in their posted length. Those first three, of course, being all, roughly the same length, and then the Lamy Safari being the tall one. All right, again, this is the Monteverde Ritma, and it is the Omniflex nib. Now, this is just with my normal, everyday handwriting. You can, of course, with pressure, get some flex out of this. I'm going to go just a normal line, and then just still pretty light pressure, medium, a little bit more than medium, and then a good bit of pressure, and then a greater bit of pressure. So as you can see, you can get some pretty good line variation out of there. Do our little loop-de-loops. All right, so the pen does great. Whether or not I do is a whole different story, and that's a different review. But the pen, I think, does well. Again, semi-flex, not, Omni doesn't mean all the flex in the world. That's just marketing. I would consider it a semi-flex nib. Ink today. It's Private Reserve. And what goes better with espresso than chocolate? This is their Chocolat. And that's this bottle here, and I really like this. It is, as they say, a fast dry ink. It's 60 milliliter bottle. I got it at a pretty reasonable price. And I like it. That big opening makes it pretty easy to get in there and get your ink. It also makes it easy to spill, so kind of be aware of how this, I'm going to say a jar. This is more of a jar of ink than a bottle, isn't it, in that shape? But just be aware of that. But it is a nice, stable jar and an easy one to get your pen into, because you take that lid off and it's like you got a big old pool of ink right there. Close enough to the color of chocolate that it'll almost make you hungry watching the video. Wetness, let's try that. And I did at least remember to put the cap back on, so this should be at least semi-accurate. And it's a fairly wet writer. Not too bad, not too wet, but I do find it to be enough that it does keep up. Of course, we'll do our speed test here in just a second. See whether or not that actually happens on camera. Will it keep up or not? See a little bit of the flex. So you can see I'm putting medium pressure on there, and it's not overly flexing, as you can see, but you're getting a little bit. Let's do just a little bit more of the loops there just to give you an idea. Ink lightened up. But yeah, you can get what you want out of this if you just take some time and give it a little bit of pressure. And also, I think it'll improve as the pen breaks in, as would be pretty typical. And as I said, just in normal writing, which all of this up here pretty much was, you're going to find that it makes a pretty nice, fine line. Not too bad at all. All right, now I'm really curious. I have not done the speed test actually with this pen yet, so I'm a little bit curious to see how it's going to keep up. So let's do this, and just as a reminder, this is in real time so that you can see realistically how it will work. Normal pressure, there's a little bit of a skip there. Might be the pen, might be me. Gonna keep going. Then let's do... Yep, it did not keep up with too much after that to go into the flexing. So for flex, you might want to slow down. And you'll be fine, see there. But quick flexing, well, it did okay. Yeah, it just needed a second to catch back up. And that may be in part because I had the cap off a long time talking and setting up the camera. So that may have affected things just a little bit. Seems to have caught back up. But in my day-to-day writing, it has been doing fine. So what do I think? What are my final thoughts here on the pen? Love the way it looks. Love the magnetic cap. That really, I love just the security that, hear that. Just a nice snick. And it's just fantastic. And it works when you go to post it too. Just a really nice snick and very secure. So if you're into magnetic caps, definitely, I think it's got a great one. Nice modern look to it, a clean appearance to it, nothing garish or anything like that. Cons, just a little bit on the fingerprint magnet side, but that's really about it. It is a bulky pen, and that's either a pro or a con to you. That'll be very personal. Pro, it does include a cartridge, and when I bought mine at Goulet, I don't know if they're still running the special when you're seeing this video or not, but the day I bought it, it also was on promotion with an extra bottle of ink, and that's how I got that Monteverde Blue Skies ink for free, and that's always great, come with a free ink. And all in all, I really do like it. I would consider that Omniflex nib, here's a little bit of pro and con. Pro, it gives you some line variation. Con, not a true flex nib, but pro, stiff enough to be a good EDC fine nib that does have the possibility of a little bit of flex when you want it. And I think that's a really cool balance. I think the fact that it's very usable just as a normal everyday writer, but has the possibility of more, I think that's a pretty good thing to have in a pen. Sometimes you do have to make those compromises, and I think this is a fairly usable one. What do you think? Do you have a Ritma? They've been around a long time. A lot of you probably already have this and are just looking to see if my thoughts on it are the same as yours. I'm curious about yours. Are they the same as mine? And if they are, that should probably scare you. All right? Anyway, thank you so much for all of the liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. Most of all, God bless you, and I really do hope you have an awesome week.